Hey, my name is Jeff Woodard. I have been part of the Historical African Martial Arts Association's Council since its inception. Not from the very, very beginning, but since we became a fully fledged organization. I work in the Human Resources Department, and you may have read some of my articles on the website. I have something very exciting that I want to show you guys. So, to give a little bit of backstory, somewhere near where I currently reside in Tennessee, there was a museum of a man who is very well traveled, some kind of bigwig optometrist. And he had a private museum from all the different places that he had visited all over the world. One of the places he had a lot of artifacts from was in Africa. And when he died, the wife decided she didn't want to hold on to the museum. So she sold the museum to an auctioneer. The auctioneer was very adamant about selling the items in the museum, not necessarily keeping them for the sake of keeping a small museum. I was fortunate enough to gain two of the items. Right now I'm going to talk about one of them. So it says on the placard that came with it that this is a ceremonial sword, dagger, and sheath from the Yoruba area of Cameroon. The blade is, or is it the blade? No, it's the whole thing, is 35 and 1/5 inches. The sword and knife sheaths have varied geometric motifs of hand-beaded multiple beads attached to the surface and finished with fringed leather, cowrie shells, and reserved for the use by the ruler and his highest-ranking chiefs. This is it. So as you can see, the sword and the dagger are together. But let's take a quick look at the sheath. You probably can't see it all that well, but these are beads. And I can't really tell if they are sewn on there, but I'm pretty sure they are. The strap also has some decorative beads. And then if you look at the bottom, that is the fringed leather that he was talking about. And on the other side is the shells. So you can see it goes all the way down the sheath. Let's start by pulling out the dagger. You can see it's super old. Let me get some light to reflect on here. The handle is also covered in the same beads, and I believe that that might be some kind of resin or oil that's actually keeping it bound the way that it is. It might even be some kind of animal fat, but you can't really see much here. You can see that the blade is fit in there. It's not loose, it's very fixed, and I don't want to touch it too much because it is a historical artifact. But now let's take a look at the sword. See that it is super old, and this probably was used in some form of ceremony. It's a very straight blade. But one thing I found interesting about the handle is not just this part, but as you can see, there's some grooves in there. Not necessarily like a fuller, but a ceremonial groove of some kind. One thing I found interesting was, in fact, this part right here. At first I thought that was a shell, but when I looked at it just a bit closer, there's no opening like a shell. And it doesn't have the same type of thing as the, let me turn it over, as the shells right here. It looks similar. When I got to look really closer, that's marrow. This is bone. So my guess is what they did was they put the blade, what do they call it? The tang, inside of a bone, and then wrapped it up with these beads. I don't know if you can see if that right there, that might be part of the bone right there. but chances are the beads and the resin or fats or oils or whatever they use to make this all nice and smooth actually kept the bone preserved like it is. And you hear me scratching on it. Those are grooved like beads. I do have another thing that I got from the museum. Right here. Now, one of our main patriarchs, Osazua, was really interested in this one. This is a shield, and I don't have the placard with me at the moment, but this shield was supposedly used for what did they say the tribe? The Ashuri tribe, I believe. But as you can see, it has the type of grooves that is symmetrical with skin. This might be hippo, rhino, or possibly even elephant. You can see right here, there are little notches. These are to keep this into play. That is your handle. He mentioned something about having a type of groove, which you can't really see it all that well, but there are two little grooves right here, and it probably was to go from one hand to double-handed, and the rope would be right there. You can see that there are all kinds of ceremonial spaces in the I can't really show it all that well at this light, but there's some little dots that go throughout the entire fringe, and the shell itself is kind of folded over. Now, Osa mentioned that this probably was a real usable shield, and I hate doing this, but he had me do it, so I'm going to do it for you guys. He said that this is, in fact, probably battle ready. Let me grab a stick of some kind. Here, I got all kinds of weapons in here. We'll just grab a tonfa. So this right here, that's about how hard I was willing to hit it. And then Osa said, "No, hit it. You ain't gonna break it." And I hit it really hard. And he's right. It don't break. If anything, it just knocks the dirt off. And it bounces right back. So if you guys would like some pictures of this, I will be sure to share it with you guys on the Facebook group. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to the Historical African Martial Arts Association via our website or our Facebook. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
The Historical African Martial Arts Association's Hero Series celebrates the great military leaders of Africa's past. Order yours today at teespring.com.